morning. I'm Jennifer M. Peralta, a BSIT student from Isabela State University. And now, I will explain the various purposes of communication, and there are three types of it. But I will focus only on the persuasive. Before I start, let's know first the purposive communication. Communication serves five major purposes: to inform, to express feelings, to influence, to imagine, and to meet expectations. Each of these purposes is reflected in a form of communication. Communication involves two or more people as a sender and receiver. It's essential for this process to take place. Communication is also about the transferring of information that helps a person to understand the purpose of the message. So now, I will explain the three types of communication. First, the informative. Informative. Informative speaking generally centers on talking about people, events, processes, places, or things. The goal of informative speaking is to teach an audience something using objective, factual information. And the root word is fact. Informative can also explaining, describing, or demonstrating an idea to others. The example there are public speaking, the professor who explaining the topics, and also the valedictorian who speech in front of many people. So now, let's proceed to the main goal or main topic of this video. It's all about the persuasive. So, persuasive. Persuasive speech is one of the three most daily used speeches. So, persuasive speech is used when presenters decide to convince their presentation or ideas to their listeners. Their goal is to convince or persuade people to believe in a certain point of view. Advertisement is one of the examples of persuasive speech. The seller have a goal to convince buyers to buy their product. We also use a persuasive speech in debates and legal proceedings. Did you think that a persuasive speech and persuasive writing had the three main differences? Yes, they had. Firstly, the persuasive speech. Factor, there is the use of body language, also the speaker's voice to get the attention of the audience, and the good environment to give the speech. In persuasive writing, the factor is the writer should use the good argument, logical reason, and make your readers agree with your thoughts through different researches. Secondly, in persuasive speech, audience attention is very important because it is the audience who has to explore the answer from the speaker. The audience should be convinced by their own perspective and reasons. It is not according to speaker reasons. In persuasive writing, the purpose of persuasive writing is to convince readers to share your opinion or take a particular action. Lastly, the persuasive speech success, often measured by the audience's choice and willingness to hear and admire the speaker's argument. The success of persuasive writing is to ask rhetorical questions to make them think about or conclude a call to action, in which you ask the reader to do something. Now, let's talk about the techniques of the persuasive speech. First, the ethos. Ethos, your materials and resources should be trustworthy and convince people you are right. Also, in the aspect of your way of speaking also should engage the audience. Second, logos. Logos, the way of showing that you have an organized speech or logical argument, is related to your sources. If used unbiased, accurately resources, people will assume you have a very strong and logical argument. Also, you can use your personal experience or some well-known experiences to support your point. Basically, you do not only give an argument but have a full explanation and support your arguments. Third, pathos. Pathos, this relates your emotional part. A good speaker should be able to steer the audience's feelings, let people agree with you. You use logical argument but also use emotion strategy to appeal audience follow you. This skill will be effective if you want the audience change their behavior or let them do some actions. Fourth, cognitive dissonance. This strategy is to make people feel uncomfortable if your speech. From the psychology perspective, saying that this will happen, that if you will topic will challenge the audience's values or beliefs. Fifth, positive and negative motivation. This is the strategy convince people that the goal side of your speech and good consequence of not accept it. Sixth, appeals to need your speech can relate to the audience needs. There are several needs that human beings have. Social needs, safety needs, self-esteem needs, self-actualization needs, and psychological needs. Just relate one of those needs in your speech that based on your audience. It will be effective. The importance of persuasive speech. Persuasive speech is part of the area about persuasion. That's the reason why persuasive speech is important. And we need to give attention to the persuasive speech. Knowing the advantages and disadvantages of that and apply it not only into our classes but also into our daily lives. In persuasive communication, there are 5 reasons for regard to the importance of persuasion. First, persuasion communication is extremely increasing. Second, persuasive information is spread very quickly. Third, persuasion becomes more and more organized. Fourth, persuasive communication is subtle and diffuse. Fifth, and persuasive communication is not simple but complicated now. By analyzing the importance of persuasive speech, we can see that persuasive speech had become a common way of communication. Nowadays, people are using persuasive speech throughout the time. For example, when a child wants something from their parents, they will automatically use a persuasive speech. And when a friend would like to invite their friends to go out, they will also use a persuasive speech. Therefore, persuasive speech does not necessarily directed to the politicians, presidents, or public speakers. It can be used by anyone in any time. This is one of the reasons why we should analyze the concept and method of persuasive speech.